Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Susan. Today we are going to be making this beautiful dress that you're seeing here. It's actually an A-shaped dress designed with a velvet bias, and it has a joining at the down part. So if this sounds like what you like to learn, stay on the line while we get started. Guys, let me use this medium to thank my subscribers. Thank you so much, guys, for your support. And you that just saw my channel, please do well to subscribe. In this channel, I share things like this, so go ahead and subscribe. I've gone ahead to draft my starting points and all the lines that we need. This fabric is actually an Ankara fabric. I folded it already into four, and what I folded was actually a hip measurement plus about extra 5 inches and also extra 3 inches, so that's like about 8 inches extra that I folded here. So that's it. So from our shoulder to that point is our bust point, and this is our waist, and that's all the lines that we'll be needing. This is our hip. We are not going to be using the hip. I just did it for doing sake, so I just drew the lines. So, and this is our aim line, this is our aim line. That's the full length of this dress. Full length of this dress is actually 62, but we are going to have half cuts at that point. So for the half cut, I'm actually using 48 inches, and the rest 14 inches is going to be for what I'm going to use to complete the length. So that's going to make it that 62 that we are. Go ahead and take 3 inches for your neck width. That's going to be for both front and the back. And for the back neck depth, you're going to take 1 inch. For the front neck depth, you're going to take 2.05 because it's actually high neck. So by the time we use half inch to turn the shoulder, it's going to be that like 3 inches. So I'm going to use my curve ruler right now to curve it to give us that round neck at that point. Then I'll use my free hand to curve for the back neck depth, and that's all we have, guys. So from there, go ahead and take your shoulder measurement divided by 2. Whatever you have, you add half inch to it, and I added half inch to mine. So after that, I'm going to go ahead now to take our armhole measurement. So divide your bust circumference by 6. Whatever you have, you add 1.5 to it, or just divide your shoulder by 2, and whatever you have, you take it as your armhole. When I was done, what I have, I had put it here as an armhole. I'm actually making this dress for my sister, so what I had is 8. So I'm going to go ahead now and put 8 at that point. Whatever you have here, that's what you're going to have there. Yes, so I'm just going to go ahead now and connect the lines this way. So from there, I'm going to go ahead now to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Our shoulders are not equal, so I need to slope it so it will not be puffing out. So when I was done, so for us to have our armhole curve, we are going to go ahead now to take our bust measurement divided by 4. Whatever we have, we're going to put it there. Then from there, we are going to go ahead now to measure the midpoint of this our armhole. Whatever we have, we are going to come in there by half an inch. Look for the midpoint of your armhole. Whatever you have, you're going to come in there by half an inch. From there, you're going to go ahead now to connect from that point down to that 1 inch that you slope, and from there you're going to use a curve ruler to curve there to give us that round armhole shape. So that's actually the armhole for the bag. So I'm just confirming. Okay, so after that, I'm going to curve the armhole for the bag. So the armhole for the back, we're just going to curve it just that way. So from there, I'm going to take a body measurement, a bust divided by 4 plus 1 inch for ease, because there is no breast cup. I'm going to add 1 inch for ease, and after that, we're going to go ahead now to add 1.05 inch for sewing allowance. So you know what we have there was a bust point exactly, so without those allowances, so I'm just going to extend that line and I'm going to go up. So that is it. So after that, I'm going to go ahead now to take our waist measurement divided by 4. So I'm going to add 1 inch also for ease. Then that 1 inch, when I'm shaping it, I'm actually going to remove about quarter of an inch because it's the waist. Guys, please go ahead and like this video. Thank you so much. Give this video a thumbs up. This means so much to me. Thank you. So after that, I'm just going to connect. I also added 1.5 inches for seam allowance at that waistline. So this is what we have, guys. So I just went ahead to connect the lines. That's basically all for the upper part. Let's go down now to the lower part. So from that waist, we are just going to use a ruler. Yes, we're going to use a ruler from that waist. But first, let us take our hip measurements. For us to have that A-line shape, like for us to have that A-line flowing at that down part, we are going to go ahead now to use our hip measurements. Hip measurements. After the hip measurement, I'm going to add 5 inches extra. 5 inches extra for hip measurement. That's at the M line. Then from there, I'm going to add the sewing allowance that we've all added at that other part, which is 1.05. From there, I'm going to go ahead now and connect it this way. We're going to connect it from that allowance. We're going to connect it down to the waist. So from there, you can see we already have that A-line shape showing already. So that's basically all, guys, for this particular dress at the moment. So that is it. So what I have here is the 48 plus 1.5 inches allowance. That's what we have there. So right now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead now to add my shoulder allowance, half inch. Add your shoulder allowance so that your neck would not shift. After that, I'm going to go ahead now to connect it this way. From there, I'm going to go ahead now to connect this other line that I didn't connect. So that is it. So I'm going to go ahead now to cut the back of this dress first. If you notice, I actually dropped an extra fabric at the back of this dress. I actually dropped an extra fabric at the back of this dress. They were not the same. So the back side is going to be longer than the front side. I'm just going to make it to 4. So that is it. This is me just going ahead now to cut that down part. So I actually love doing this. It's not compulsory, but if you want, you can do it. So this is it. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead now to minus, this is me trying to minus 1 inch out of the front. I'm trying to minus 1 inch out of the front, and I'm going to replace that 1 inch at the back, guys. I'm going to replace it at the back. So this is also me trying to connect it. I'm still going to cut it out. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead now to also increase it by 1 inch. I'm increasing the back neck length, like the shoulder. Sorry, I'm increasing the shoulder by 1 inch. So when I was done, I'm just going to go ahead now to cut it. You can see, so I've removed 1 inch from the front, then I replace it at the back. I'll go ahead and finish my armhole and also cut the neckline for the front, and that is it, guys. So when we turn it that way, that's how it's going to be. So right now, let's go ahead and take the neck depth. Like for the front, we have a slit, so I just came down by 7 inches. That 7 inches is from the 3 inches. That's like 4 inches, so I don't want to confuse you. So that's like 4. I came down by 4 inches from this neck depth. It's just 4 inches I came down with. So everything for the neck, for the front neck, is 7 inches. You can do 7.5 depending on the person's height. So after that, I'll go ahead now to take the pocket, because there is going to be a pocket in this dress. So I'll just come down by 8 inches from my armhole, and we are going to notch. So right now, the part that we have, the folded part, I'm just going to use it to cut the pocket. So the pocket opening is going to be 8 inches, and I'm going to come down by exactly the amount I have there, which is 9. This is 100% cotton material, so you can actually decide to sew it without using a lining, but I want to use a lining for it. So I'm going to be adding a lining to this dress, so it will give it more volume actually. So I'm just going to cut this pocket, and we are going to keep it aside. It's 4, so it's double, like double, so I have for both sides. And I'm just going to go ahead now to cut it, and I'll keep it aside while we continue with our dress. So I've gone ahead to cut the lining. If you don't want to put lining, you can just use facing to turn the neck. So me, I'm going to add lining. But even if you're using facing at the front of this dress, you make sure that you add paper stay to it. I'm going to add paper stay at the front. You can see, if you don't add paper stay at that front, it's not going to be firm, it will be falling. So I've gone ahead to cut facing. So if you don't want to add lining, these are just the type of facing that you're going to use, a regular one. So but me, I'm going to add facing to the lining. So I'm going to add facing to my lining. So this is the back, this is how the facing is going to be. I'll just sew it on top. That's it. I'm just going to sew it on top. So this is it. We've been doing facing, I've been using facing. So if you're following me, if you're a subscriber, you should already know how to put this facing. So this is going to be for the front. Whatever I do to the front, that's what I'm going to do at the back. I'm going to go ahead now and put it aside while we work on the. Go ahead and make the design first before you turn it. So as you can see, this is the front. I've already iron it straight, so it will be easy for me to identify the midpoint. So when I was done ironing it, I placed it this way. So we are just going to determine how we want it to be. As you can see on the picture, we are going to determine how we actually want the front to be, this the gap we are going to give, the spacing we are going to give. So that's all we are going to determine here. So after we are done with determine, we are going to go ahead now. So the first one is going to be on the midpoint, on the the first one is going to be on the bust point, like it's going to be around the bust point. So this is me just going up from my bust point. You can see I left that 1 inch. Then at the side of my armhole, I'm going to come down by 5 inches, and also this other side I'm going to come down by 5 inches. So from that 5 inches, I'm going to connect them down to our bust point. So this is how we are going to place it, and we are going to cut it this way. And when we are done, we are also going to place it on the other side, and we are going to take it down to that armhole space. So that's just it, guys. So now let's go ahead now and draw these lines, so we can actually go to the machine and stitch them on top. So this is it. Forget about how it's looking. It's because of how the camera is being placed. So that's why it looks like this other side is longer than the other side. So right now, from this point, I've already determined how I'm going to be, because these lines are going to be 6. So I've already determined the gap and the spacing we are going to give. So when I was done, I stop at 7. So what you are going to do is that at the midpoint, we are going to be taking 7 each, and at the side, you're going to take 5 inches down. So we are going to do this in 6 places. So this is the number 2. We are just going to connect it this way, connect it from that place down to that 7. So this is it. We are going to do the third one. From there, you take 7 down, and after the 7, you also go to the side. After the 7, you go to the side and you take 5 inches, and you're just going to connect it this way. So I'm going to do this in 6 places. This is what I've done. This is the third one, and we're just going to connect it to the other side. Yes, so whatever you take on this other side, you can see that's 5. So that's how I'm going to go ahead now to take it on the other side too. So that's it, 5 each. That's it. So that's it. So I just said, let me show you guys. So you're also going to take 5 inches at this other side. You can do more, and if you're short, yours is not going to be 7 up to 5 inches. If the person is, it depends on the person's height. You get me? So that's it. Because if you do 5 and 7 inches, and the person's height is like, total height is like 40 or 48 or 50, it's not going to accommodate that 6. But it's not compulsory, you can actually do 5. All this depends on the person's height. So that is it. So because you're going to still keep some space at the down part. So from there we're going to take that 7. This is the fourth one. So we're going to take that 7, then we are going to take 5 by the sides, and we're going to use a ruler to connect it. So you can see that's the last one. It's going to be, that's 14. So that's the reason why I said before you do it, you have to measure to know so that it's going to be uniform. So that is it. I'm just going to go fast and do it so we can actually move to the machine while I'll show you how to stitch them together. So that's the last one. You can see the amount that is left, and this is plus the seam allowance. So the fact is that the more you go, the more the lines are going to be expanding. So guys, pay attention to this part, and this part is not the part that you're going to rush. You're going to take your time while doing it. So what I did is that at the side where it's not that comfortable for you to sew, you are just going to go ahead now and stitch it this way. You know we have our lines. You stitch it down to this part this way, and you stop at that midpoint. When you stop at that midpoint, you're going to turn it, and mind you, I already cut the edge in a slanted way. So in a slanted way, plus about half inch that you're going to fold inside. So what you're going to do, you're going to also cut your own the same way. You're going to make sure that the upper part is almost exactly the way you want it to be, that like is on that point where you actually marked. Then the down part is going to be longer. You can see how it is here. So after that, I'm going to do it like 2. I'm going to show you example like 2. So if you can't get it here, you get it on the second one. So after I was done for that first part, you can see how it is. I'm going to go ahead now to stitch this other side that is comfortable for you. This is the right side that is more comfortable for you. So you just place it on that line. You place it on that line, and you're going to stitch it this way. You're going to stitch it all to that point also. Then when you get to the midpoint, you're going to fold it. You also cut, you can see how I'm cutting it is in on a slanted way. It's not straight. If you cut it straight, you might not fold well, and might not lie down flat. So, and it will not give you that shape. So I folded it in a slanted way, and the midpoint is going to go ahead to meet the other midpoint. It's going to meet the other midpoint. This is it. Stitch it, and you're going to pause it there. Then you turn it over to the other side. Then there are going to be excesses at the down part. You're going to fold them inside. You're going to fold that excesses inside. Remember, you're not going to cut it straight. So after folding it inside, you're just going to go ahead now to stitch it this other way around. So that is it. I actually tried plenty. I actually tried, and I've gum some, and I know that some are not going to, some is not coming out with that shape. So the second one now, you place it on this other side that is not that comfortable for you to sew. You place it on that other side. You can see, you place it, and now cut it slantly. You see, cut it slantly at that point where you have that your iron, the midpoint. then you're going to leave some inches. From that inches, look at it there, you're going to fold. After folding, you just go ahead. Now you see it, you see how it is, that place is slanty. You now fold it this way in a slanted form. At the down part, the folding is going to exit your exact midpoint, you get. So you now fold this other side too. Fold this other side this way. This is another pattern. No, it's not the same with the other one that I showed you. So you now fold it this way. Anyone that is easy for you, just use it. You now fold it on top. Fold it on top and then continue. You have to take your time while you're doing it. Fold it on top. You can see. Fold it on top that way and then continue your stitching. So whichever one is simple for you and easy, you can adopt it. You can actually adopt it as long as you have your bias placed in the right way and giving you that round shape. So you can see when you now get to this point, you try to drag it. You try to drag it to make sure that that shape comes out from there. Then from the upper point, you're going to stitch down. You're going to stitch down that way. When you stitch down that way, you now pause it there. Then you look for a way, use your hand to tuck in whatever excesses you have there. Tucking in, you can see. So you can see how it is, guys. So I'm just going to go ahead now to check if it is all right, if I like the outcome of it, and if it's not, I'm going to still adjust it. Just make sure you adjust it very well until it's neat and smooth. Do not forget that place is going to be at the front, so you just have to take your time and do it gently. When you're done, you're just going to go ahead now to complete. You can watch the first one again. So which one is easier for you? I think the first one is actually more easy. If you've watched this video to this point, I'd like to please beg you to please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe and turn on the notification button. Thank you so much. So this is the lining. I've already gone ahead to attach the facing for both the front and the back, you can see. So, and I've also iron paper stay on both the fabric, the lining and the everything for the front, because I want that place to be firm. So I'm just going to place it on that part, and I'm going to go ahead now to turn the neck. This is what I was telling you, by the time I use half inch to turn this neck, it's going to come down more. So that is what, if you want it wider or deeper, you know what to do. So this is it. I'm done turning it and I use Amy gum, so there is no need of me stop stitching. So I'll go ahead now to notch round. When I was done notching round, I would also do the same for the back side. So after I was done doing that for the back, I'm just going to go ahead now and turn this side. I'm going to turn the side with 1/4 inch. Look at it there. I'll turn it till down. After I was done turning, I'm going to bring it to the front. Look at it here. I'm trying to bring it to the front. I'll cut that point so that neck is going to lie down very flat. Then when I was done, I'm just going to go ahead now and flip it to the right side, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. So go ahead and do the same. If you're not using lining is actually not compulsory. If you're not using lining, just use your facing and turn it this way. And after that, I'm going to go ahead now to iron it. So I'm going to join the shoulders by 1/2 inch that I added. So just place your shoulders like this, right side facing right side, lining to lining and cloth to cloth. When I was done, this is what we have. Look at our shoulders. So I'm going to flip it over to this side, and they're lying down very flat and nice. So this is it. That's how it is. You can see our neck depth. It's not that big, it's not that long, but it's going to fit in perfectly, and it's going to sit down well on the owner's body. I'm done ironing everything down. The neck, after joining the shoulders, I've done. So right now I'm going to take the shape that we added. So we added 1.5 inches, so I use quarter of an inch to turn the neck. I use quarter of an inch for the side, so you can just go ahead now to use 1 quarter inch to stitch it down to the waistline. Then after that, you're just going to use your ruler to connect it, or you can use that 1.5 1 quarter inch to take it down. It all depends on what you want, especially if you did not use lining. If you did not use lining, just use it like that. Me, I actually use lining, so I just took the normal body measurements and I added all the inches. Then when it came to that, to the waist, I make sure that I remove about some inches, like quarter of an inch from there. So this is it when I was done turning both the sides, and I'm done with the shaping of the cloth. So right now I'm just going ahead to confirm my measurements, my length, if it's correspond. So when I was done at the down part, I just came in by half inch. Then I'm just going to connect it that way. So this is it when I was done. So I'm going to measure the mid, I'm going to measure round of this dress, so we can go ahead now to cut our pleat. So when I was done, what I have here is actually, this is 60, and I'm going to place my tape on the other way, and I'm going to continue. So what we have here is actually 6. So what we have is actually 67, so I'm going to cut times 2 of that 67. So I have already placed my tape on, you know, the length you need to complete it is 14, so I'm going to add 1.5 inches to it, and I'm going to cut it. This is like, so I've gone ahead to fold the down part. So right now we are going to plait it. So what we have here is actually times 2 of that down part. So it all depends on the amount of fabric you actually have. So that's it. So by the we are going to pleat it, we are going to pleat it with half inch. I tried 1 inch because the fabric is not that much, it did not stand, so I had to lose it and do half inch. So I'm done pleating everything on one side. I'm done pleating it. This is how it is. I'll advise you to finish up everything before you iron it, but I actually iron mine. So because I did that and I had other processing, I had to iron it like 2 times before I was done sewing. So this is it. I'm going to tear this place because I'm going to use the lining to turn it. So when I was done tearing it, I'm just going to go ahead now and place the right side of the lining to the right side of the fabric, right side of fabric facing right side of the dress, and I'm going to use the lining this way. I'm going to turn, so we have the 3 all together. We're going to turn it this way. Just take your time and turn it. That's, you're placing it on the fabric, not the pleated ones. You're placing it on the fabric, not the pleated ones, and you're going to go to the machine and stitch it with half inch. When I was done stitching, that's what I have, and I'm going to come out and turn it from my armhole, turn it from the armhole side. And when you're done turning it, this is how it's going to be. So the both sides are neat. I went ahead to do it for both the front and the back, and we are just going to go ahead now to stitch it all the way to the down. So you can, after stitching it, you can actually fold the sides, because I'm not going to iron this, I'm not going to weave this dress, so you can actually fold that side. So this is it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and iron now. You can see when I was done placing it, it was rough again. So you can see how it is, guys. You can see how beautiful this dress came out. So from there, we are going to just keep it aside while we work on the armhole. I've already gone ahead to cut the sleeve of line, because this is just like the normal sleeve, so I've cut it already to save our time. I'll just notch the midpoint of that sleeve and the midpoint of our shoulder. Look at how it is on the shoulder. You make sure that that place that is falling in is also falling in, so but the shoulders are going to be equal. So you're going to place the right side, the notch part on the notch part, and you're going to sew it all around. I'll do the same for the other side. So this is it, but before I attach the sleeve, I'm going to go ahead now to reduce half inch from the front sleeve. You know, we did that when we were cutting the armhole, so we have to also do the same here. So when I was done stitching it, this is what we have. The length of this sleeve is actually 9 inches, so I use 9 inches, so it depends on your client or you. So this is a pocket. I'm gonna ahead to sew it front and back, and I've sew it front first, and I'm just going to go ahead and sew it all together again. By so doing, I'm not going to weave it, so both front and back are going to be neat. So when I was done, I'll just iron it. This is my dress. I'll just bring it from that place that we notch, and I'm going to just mark it. I'm going to stitch it like this, and I've not opened it yet. I'll just stitch it down that way. I'll stitch it down right side facing right side that way. Then I'll also flip it over to the other side, the other end. Then I'm going to stitch it right side facing the right side also. And when I was done, I'll do the same for the other side. Then when I was done, I'm going to go ahead and open the cloth down, so we can actually have access to put our finger inside. So that is it, guys. When I was done with everything, this is the outcome of the dress. It came out so beautiful. So guys, this is where we'd like to stop for now. Please go ahead to subscribe, guys, share to your friends, and if you find value, please like this video. We have a lot of amazing videos on this channel. Please go ahead and watch them. See you in my next one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.